fifth seal and the sixth seal. Okay, here we go. Chapter 6. I'm going to show you where the seals are. You guys should already know some of this, and I'll show you where the bowls are being poured out. The breaking point is in between the fifth seal and the sixth seal. Right here is the resurrection rapture event. Right there. The sixth seal is right down here, and that's where you see the wrath has come upon the earth. Right there, Christ is coming back in the 19th chapter, right there on a white horse. Right there. It says, every mountain has fled and every island has moved out of its place. The stars fall from the sky. Stars fall from the sky. Mountains disappear. Islands disappear. The kings of the earth are hiding under the rocks. This right here is when Christ is coming back on a white horse. During this time, right before that sixth seal is opened, we're going to have the seventh trumpet's going to have to blow. The seventh trumpet is going to have to blow. The seventh trumpet. So that means somewhere in this area here, somewhere in this area is the trumpets. Somewhere in this area, the trumpets are going to be blowing. Somewhere in this area, the two witnesses are going to be on the earth witnessing. Somewhere in this area, the Antichrist, the two beasts of Revelation 13 are going to be making the image. They're going to be making the mark. They're going to be persecuting the saints. Somewhere in this area, this is the fifth seal. Fifth seal especially. What happens in the fifth seal? I saw the souls of them that were beheaded for their witness. Lord, when are you going to take vengeance on us? He says, wait until your brothers should be killed also. In the fifth seal, we're waiting for everyone to die. Why? Because Paul said the dead have to be raised first. There's only one resurrection for the righteous. You guys, there's people teaching some wacky stuff out there. Like there's 4 resurrections and 5 raptures and what? I'll show you that in a minute. Matter of fact, I should probably show it to you now. Okay. Now up here we have the 4 horses. We got the 4 horses riding. 1, 2, 3, 4. These guys have kind of coming all together, been coming for years. They're going to be intensified in the last generation. But these guys are riding simultaneously. They're kind of one package, really. They're all coming together. There's always been a dictator in the world. There's always been wars. There's always been famines. And so these guys are just making their presence known. These guys are just making their presence known with intensity in the last generation. Yeah, we've been riding around the earth. We've been riding around the earth in different parts of the world. We first were over here on the east side of the world. Then we're on the west side of the world. But we're coming everywhere. We're coming down upon the earth with an intense force. The 4 horses are going to be the same forces that have always existed, but they're coming with intensity. Jesus said there shall be great tribulation. There's the beginning of sorrows. Then there's great tribulation. And that's where these 4 horses are going to be coming with magnitude. Now, these guys have been riding probably slowly for a while. They're getting quicker, they're getting faster, and they're getting more sudden. Right? Now, what are we waiting for here is seal 5 really is going to be the moment, the resurrection. We're going to know we're close when seal 5 happens. Why? Because we're going to see a mark. We're going to see a mark of the beast coming. We're going to see the mark right here. We're going to see 2 witnesses over here. We're going to see people killed in America for their faith. That's seal 5. Seal 5. You're going to know you're in seal 5 when they're arresting you for your Christian faith in America and putting you in Guantanamo Bay. Okay? We're going to know that you're going to know you're in seal 5. You're going to know it when you cannot be a Christian in public. Okay? You're going to know you're in seal 5 when you can't buy or sell. You can't buy or sell without some kind of mark, whatever that mark might be. Whatever that mark might be. So these 4 horses could take years to develop. If the last generation is 70 to 80 years, okay, then you can see these 4 horses developing over the last 70 years, but in the last few years getting stronger and stronger. What's going to happen in seal 5? This is the last 3.5 years, literally, in my opinion. The first four horses could be riding for decades. When they break down the constitutional freedoms of America and we go straight up communism over here, then and they start arresting you for your Christian faith, that's when you know you're in the fifth seal right there, because they're going to be killing Christians in America. That's what seal 5 is. Now, none of this has anything to do with this seal down here, with the 6th seal. None of it. None of it. The trumpets are blowing up top. The trumpets are blowing by the 5th seal. The trumpets are going to blow. By the time the 2 witnesses are dead and come back alive, that's at the 7th trumpet, Revelation 11. When did the 2 witnesses come back alive? At the 7th trumpet. When did Paul say the twinkling of an eye and you're going to be caught up, the dead have to be raised first? At the last trumpet. The last trump. All of that stuff is called tribulation. All of that stuff is not the wrath of God. All of that stuff Christians have been going through for the last 2,000 years. There's nothing new about Christians being persecuted, burned, and being beheaded, and being hated, and being stoned, and being killed for their faith. Nothing new about that. There's nothing new going on here except it's global. And there's no place for Christians to hide. There's no constitutional protection for anybody anywhere. You can't run to any other country and be safe under their constitutional protection. You can't go to Canada. You can't go to Britain. America was the Mac Daddy protection country for Christians. It's going to fall. There will not be any more protection for Christians in America relatively soon in your life. You're going to see it. Okay? So, down here, after the resurrection rapture event, when Jesus says, God says, wait at the 5th seal, wait until everybody's dead. You got the 4 horses riding up here. 5th seal's right here. This is when people are dying. The 2 witnesses have to die here with this group. They're part of that. God says, wait until your brothers are dead, as you were killed. That includes the 2 witnesses. They actually are protected for 3.5 years. 1,260 days. And then they're killed by the Antichrist. And they raise up on their feet, and guess what happens? The 7th trumpet blows. I'm not making this up. It's spelled out as clear as the nose on your face if you go read chapter 11. The 7th trumpet. They raise from the grave. We're waiting on everybody to die. Put 2 and 2 together. Guys, if you put it all together, it makes sense. It makes sense. And so the 7th trumpet, when the 7th trumpet blows, during this whole time with the Antichrist, the image of the beast, the mark of the beast, during this whole time, the trumpets are going to be blowing. The trumpets are going to blow. The trumpets are going to blow. The trumpets are going to blow. We're going to get down here to where the 2 witnesses are dead. To the last few Christians are going to be dead. The 2 witnesses are going to raise up. And then finally that 7th trumpet, the 7th trumpet's going to blow at that time right there. And then boom, we're out of here. That's the resurrection rapture event. Okay? Then, chapter 15, we're in heaven with harps singing, getting judged. And the 7 last plagues are given to the angels. Chapter 16, chapter 17, chapter 18, all happen when the bowls are poured out. 16, 17, and 18. That's the fall of Babylon. That's the fall of man. That's the last plagues. That's it. That happens after the resurrection rapture event takes place. And we know what happens in 19. What happens in chapter 19, guys? Does anybody know what happens in chapter 19? After the fall of Babylon, after the bowls of wrath are poured out, what happens in chapter 19, guys? What happens in chapter 19? Jesus comes back on a white horse. Who gets thrown into the lake of fire when Jesus returns? The 5th seal is over with at that point, That's right, D-Love. The fifth seal is completed. The resurrection rapture has already taken place. So that's already done. The chapter 19 is after the fifth seal is completed. After the resurrection rapture, who gets thrown into the lake of fire? That's right. In chapter 19, it's the beast and the false prophet. When does the devil get thrown into the bottomless pit? What chapter does the devil get thrown into the bottomless pit? Not the devil, only the beast and the false prophet. That's two humans. Chapter 19, when Christ comes back on a white horse, he grabs the beast and the false prophet. When does Satan get thrown into the bottomless pit? Chapter 20, right, while the millennium is taking place. Okay, I'm going to throw you a curveball. Are you ready? What chapter does Satan get taken out of the bottomless pit? This is going to, if you guys are listening, you're going to get this. So what chapter does Satan get taken out of the bottomless pit? Yep, when does that take place, warrior of God? Chapter 21 and 22 is the new heaven and new earth. You see, I was throwing you a curveball. I did that deliberately. So what chapter does Satan get put in the bottomless pit? Okay, Dina Love, you're right. Now, what chapter does he get taken out of the bottomless pit? Same chapter. See, now you're thinking. Now you're connecting the dots. I'm throwing you a curveball. Same chapter. That's why chapter 20 is all about Satan and the 1,000-year millennial kingdom. It's the great white throne judgment. He fools the nations one more time, but he's in a pit for 1,000 years. Satan is in a pit for the whole time the millennial kingdom is going on. He hasn't gone anywhere. He's just temporarily put in a pit. Okay, let me ask you this. When does Satan get thrown into the lake of fire where the beast and false prophet have been burning for 1,000 years? They've been burning for the whole 1,000 years. What chapter does Satan get thrown into the bottomless, what chapter does Satan get thrown into the lake of fire? We know what chapter he's in the bottomless pit for 1,000 years. What chapter does he get thrown into the lake of fire? Here's another curveball for you. The same chapter. Exactly. Nope. Chapter 21 and 22 is the new heaven and the new earth. There's no more anything to do with evil. Chapter 21 and chapter 22 is the new heaven, new earth. There's nothing to do with Satan. There's nothing to do with judgment. There's nothing to do with punishment. There's nothing to do with anything. I want you guys to think about chapter 20. I want you to understand what chapter 20 is all about. It's about Satan and the 1,000-year millennial kingdom and the great white throne judgment to the nations that are left behind. Chapter 20, it's after the seals, after the bowls, and after the trumpets. It has nothing to do with the seals, trumpets, or bowls. That's why it's part of the post-seals section of the book of Revelation. It's not part of the seals. It's not part of the trumpets. It's not part of the bowls.